In 2025, the dream of owning a boat has turned into a nightmare. Panic is spreading as buyers demand refunds, dealers teeter on bankruptcy, and marinas overflow with abandoned vessels. Easy credit, once fueling a luxury boom, is now a financial trap snapping shut. Nearly 9% of sales have vanished, and the dominoes keep falling. How did a pandemic-era buying frenzy spiral into industry-wide chaos? The answer is more shocking than anyone expected. The summer of 2020 brought a tidal wave of optimism to the boating world. Cities were locked down and vacations were cancelled. A new dream took hold: escape on the water. Dealers watched their showrooms empty out in weeks. Waiting lists stretched for months. Suddenly, everyone wanted a boat, a family lifeboat, a floating office, a portable getaway from a world gone still. Money was everywhere. Stimulus checks landed in bank accounts. Interest rates hovered near zero. Banks and manufacturers lined up with easy loans, some as low as 4%. Buyers rushed in, convinced they could afford more boat than ever. Entry-level pontoons, sleek jet boats, even wake sport models once reserved for the few sold out. The frenzy spilled into every marina and dealership across the country. For many, the numbers look simple. A $40,000 boat with $5,000 down and a low monthly payment. What could go wrong? The sales pitch leaned on easy math. Boats appreciate in value, some said. You will always find a buyer. Social feeds filled with glossy photos, influencers touting the boating lifestyle, and families showing off new toys. Dealers, flush with orders, doubled down on inventory. Floor plan. Financing made it possible. Borrow against each boat, pay interest later, sell fast, repeat. The risk seemed invisible, buried under a mountain of deposits and a line of eager buyers. By 2021, the market soared to heights never seen. Dealers moved more boats in a season than they had in years. Manufacturers ramped up production, betting the boom would last. Outboard boats dominated the charts, making up nearly 70% of all sales. The industry posted record revenue, and talk of a new normal echoed at trade shows and on earnings calls. But beneath the surface, a dangerous blindness was spreading. Buyers ignored the fine print on their loans. Dealers ignored the mounting interest on unsold stock. Everyone believed the good times would keep rolling. No one wanted to imagine what would happen when the music stopped. The risk was invisible until it was not. Interest rates didn't just rise, they exploded. The monthly payment on a $60,000 boat, once manageable at 4%, now soared to as high as 12%. Overnight, the math changed. That same boat cost $336 more each month, even for buyers with strong credit. For families counting every dollar, the shock hit like a punch to the gut. Suddenly, the dream of weekends on the water turned into a nightmare of bills they couldn't pay. But the pain didn't stop with the loan. Insurance premiums doubled in some regions. Owners opening renewal letters found their annual costs up by thousands, sometimes more than the slip fee itself. New tariffs on imported parts and engines threatened to push prices even higher. Every line item from registration to maintenance crept up. The promise of affordable luxury vanished in a haze of fine print and hidden charges. Buyers who thought they had locked in a deal faced a brutal reality. Many had signed contracts in 2021 or 2022, only to see deliveries delayed by supply chain chaos. By the time their boats arrived in 2024 or 2025, the financing terms had changed. Lenders repriced loans, citing new market conditions. Some buyers walked away, eating thousands in non-refundable deposits. Others took delivery, tried to make the payments, and failed. The industry called it payment shock. For many, it was financial ruin. The numbers told a grim story. A boat that cost $500 a month in 2022 now demanded $800 or more. Insurance, once an afterthought, became a deal breaker. The market for used boats collapsed as desperate owners tried to sell. Listings flooded online platforms, but buyers vanished. The easy money was gone. What remained was a mountain of debt and a line of owners ready to give their boats back if anyone would take them. A Florida man stands on the dock, staring at paperwork that cost him everything. He put down a $10,000 deposit on a new wake boat in 2022, convinced the payments would be manageable. The dealer promised delivery in 6 months. By the time the boat arrived in 2025, his loan had ballooned. The monthly bill was $1,100. Insurance, dock fees, and surprise taxes stacked higher. He tried to walk away, but the contract locked his deposit. He took the boat, used it twice, then called the dealer, desperate for a refund. The answer was cold: keep the boat or lose the deposit. In the end, he settled for a partial refund. $4,000 gone, no boat, and a lesson he will never forget. He is not alone. Thousands across the country face the same math. Dealers once flush with orders now drown in inventory. One water marine, a giant in the industry, carries $509 million in notes payable, debt tied directly to boats sitting unsold on their lots. Every month, interest alone eats up $3.33 million. Nautical Ventures, a Florida powerhouse, slashed their floor plan from $42 million to $22.1 million in just 5 months, dumping 166 boats and selling off property just to stay afloat. The pressure is relentless. Dealers have just 30 to 45 days to move a boat before the lender starts charging extra. But retail sales are down 20% year over year. Boats that used to fly off the lot now gather dust. The numbers do not lie. Carrying costs soar, margins collapse, and every unsold boat becomes a ticking time bomb. For some, the only way out is to refund desperate buyers and offload stock at a loss. For others, the debt keeps piling up, threatening to pull the entire operation under. This is not just a correction. It is a human and financial meltdown. Buyers lose savings, dealers lose solvency. The dream of easy money on the water has turned into a nightmare of broken promises and mounting bills. Marinas once filled with laughter and weekend rituals now sit in uneasy silence. Rows of boats, many barely used, line the docks, each one a symbol of a market gone cold. The slip reservation board tells the story, down 28% since the peak. Owners who once scrambled for a spot now face empty berths and mounting bills. The overflow is not just in the water. Storage yards brim with covered hulls and faded for sale signs. Dealers, desperate to move inventory, watch as pontoons, jet boats, and stern drives pile up. The numbers are stark. Stern drives down 20.1%, jet boats down 14.4%, pontoons off 10.9%, wake boats nearly 10% lower. Only yachts, up 1.8%, escape the rout, proof that the pain hits hardest in the middle and entry tiers. Brokers whisper about listings that linger for months. Boats that once sold in days now gather dust for half a year or more. An industry worth $17.7 billion, built on dreams of endless demand, faces a reckoning. Production lines slow, with forecasts showing cuts through 2026. Any hope for a rebound is pinned on the distant horizon, maybe late 2027, maybe not at all. The correction is not swift or merciful. It grinds on, month after month, as prices slide and owners lose patience. Segment after segment splits under the pressure. The luxury market floats above the wreckage, but the rest is left to sink or swim. Dealers slash prices, but buyers hesitate, wary of catching a falling knife. The slow-motion glut leaves the industry exposed. Every unsold boat is a liability. Every empty slip a reminder that the boom is over. The so-called recovery is just a rumor. What remains is a long, uncertain wait and a market that may never look the same again. Today, the luxury market's cracks widen as thousands of boats sit unsold and confidence vanishes with every refund. This isn't just about boats. It's about what happens when easy money meets hard reality. The next bubble is already inflating. Are we ready for the cost when it bursts?